Right, it's a little off center and very hard to read because of the color. Green on green, but it's there. Alright, I'm pretty impressed how the Chobani cup fits perfectly inside the Phage cup. Very flush. But if you did it the other way, that's all the further it goes in Phage into Chobani. That was smooth. Almost 8,000 elevation. I thought I was only going up to 7,000. That's a nice high elevation. Nice cool temperatures. Such a wide expanse. Interesting rock formations. It's probably very tough to live out here in the winter. Point of interest. Looks like they got a reading sign. I'm trying to read it. Wyoming. No, I can't. Sherman Monasteries? Sherman Mountains? I don't know, whatever. transport service going just as slow as the last one, which was called I can't remember. It's like maybe a walking trail on the right. Alright, parked at the Civic Center. It's not too far of a walk. It'd be probably like parking on the end of a parking lot of a really big library, big city library. Pretty rare to see a UPS distribution center practically right in town. It really reminds me of when I worked at UPS. That UPS I worked at was on an industrial road. They usually focus on industrial roads. I guess the city is able to work with business and industry and share some lots. I guess being behind Safeway, I should expect to see some grocery packaging. This really got my attention though. I was like, what is this box? It's cardboard, but it's got a protective wax layer, right, maybe. Called America's Asparagus. So they ship the crates. These blue boxes from Argentina? Oh, from the USA. Somewhere. Alright, so there's a business next to the Safeway that's very inactive. They haven't bothered to close. This store is closed to the public. Alright, and they don't even bother boarding it up. What were they? They had orange on the top. Hello. I'd never seen that before. What kind of business was here? You can see they're completely emptied out. It's really hard to tell. They couldn't have been a grocery store. Safeway's over here. Right, this is kind of rare. I just checked the internet. There's a plug-in over there. I just checked the internet and I get 2 bars on my iPod and there's no regulation for parking on the side of the road. Gosh darn it. I think the mosquitoes are really bad. Alright, so I'm going to put a little ad on the back of my backpack here. Got it all written out, and now just going through the embroidery process. So some cities will set up a food bank near the detention center, jail setup. Some cities will just try to run the inmates when they're released. They'll try to run the released inmates out. Some cities, they'll take very different approaches to the prisons in the city. Alright, I saw up here that they hire personal trainers. And then I don't know why exactly I took a gun lock, but I'll play with it and see if it could be useful for something else. Well, if there's a soup kitchen being run 8 to 2, it's definitely not clear. They said there's a pancake breakfast here, but that's a special event for one day. I don't know why they're saying there's a soup kitchen around here. I'm just taking a look around and trying to get familiar, see where this soup kitchen, because I mean, I'll be happy to mark it off. I'll be happy to unmark it on Google Maps if it really does not exist. Oh, there it is. Laramie Soup Kitchen, all are welcome. Okay. This is quite a permanent sign, but it's not clear which way. Up, down. Might be down, most likely down. This is weird. What is this? Doors? What is? There's all kinds of trap doors. That's weird. It's got quite a theme of pointed door tops. It's empty. There's money. What did it say? Miles of pennies? They don't block the staircase. Oh, this is... Oh, nope. Okay. Alright, I'll go downstairs. Alright, they got food drives. A box of peanut butters. I can't eat that though. I'm gonna take a look. That's comfortable. Children's area. Too dark. Smells like burnt candles. Alright, these pipe organs on that side and over here look pretty amazing. Looks like the wall of a church. Alright. I did not see an entrance for the way I went. Maybe it's this way. It really says 8 to 2. Oh. Here. Alright, so he's serving like some cooked food at 10. I'm eating a lot of eggs right now. I actually feel a little bit weaker after consuming that soup kitchen food. I think it's because I gave in to the sugar. I gave in to a lot of sugar with the desserts. I'm gonna go back and get my fruit ferments. It really surprises me how I can feel so weak after consuming sugar, and my liver feels more tight. And then in contrast to the fermented sugar, where I feel stronger and my liver feels more likely to like feel like it's on fire. There's a big difference between congesting foods and like fire foods. Right, so this Carnegie building was turned into the city hall. I went in through the back side. I don't think you can really enter through the front. Maybe you can. The old Carnegie doesn't say Carnegie. You know, upon traveling from city to city, it really bums me out how Rice Lake, Wisconsin is so quick to tear down buildings. I mean, I've come across so many Carnegie buildings, and they tore the Carnegie down in Rice Lake and claimed that it was falling apart and that there was no disability access. You know, there's a history in Rice Lake of them tearing things down that are in good conditions, like that hospital. They were quick to tear it down. You know what's strange is they weren't quick to tear down that Franklin School building though. It's all political. When the city is quick to tear down buildings, then they find no buildings to serve as museums. And that's the conundrum with Rice Lake, is there was never a museum in that town. They were quick to tear down buildings, and then apparently the one building they were going to use for a museum, it like burnt down as an old milk factory, cream factory. Alright, I think I want to get rid of this. It's the folding chair, outdoor folding chair. Because I got these nets on every window. I can roll down all the windows. And I'd usually use this for just sitting outside the car when it's too hot. But it's such a burden. I barely use it. Still trying to figure out this sick stomach issue. I feel sick when I walk. But when I sit down, I feel better. And now I'm back to walking. It's so strange. It's like, it really seems like yoga would really help my lack of laying on my stomach is probably not helping my lack of jumping. Like at my sickest about 15-20 minutes ago, I couldn't even fathom sitting at the computer in the library. That position just made me sick thinking about it. What made me not so sick is thinking about laying on my stomach somewhere. Behind this truck? On the road? At the gas station? Where do you lay down? And it's like, there's no library you can lay down on your stomach at. Actually, there's less than 1% of the libraries you can actually find a good spot to lay on your stomach. Very, very low probabilities.